Getting scammed sucks. You may look at yourself and go, yeah, I don't get scammed. I know the scams. I feel the same way. And believe it or not, I have actually gotten pretty close to getting scammed before. I actually got a scam last week that I thought for sure was for real until they said a few things that really didn't make sense. And then I did actually sign up for something online that turned out to be not legitimate and ended up having to cancel a credit card. So that could be a scam of sorts. And that happened pretty recently as well. Today, we're gonna go over AI scams and exactly what's going on with AI and how absolutely frightening it can actually be. Artificial intelligence is all the rage. Now, you've likely been hearing about artificial intelligence for many, many years. This isn't something very new. However, it's something that is extremely new when it comes to the public. We've probably all heard of ChatGPT and the plethora of programs that quickly came out and became public since that actually was released. And today, we're going to talk about artificial intelligence scams and how to protect yourself from them, because they can get really, really scary. We're gonna go over a few things today that you might not even know exist. And if you do, you might not know that they exist and are so readily available. You've probably seen shows that they talk about deep fakes and so many other elements of AI, or just simply people that are really good at Photoshop or other tools like that. It has gone to a whole new level. And these scams are pretty insane. This is Alex Rivlin with the Rivlin Group. And today I'm talking about something to protect you, your family, your loved ones, your friends, your coworkers. This is information that really needs to get out, because we all know about the prince from Nigeria that collected 120 million US dollars and can't access it, and therefore emailed you because you were the right person to make sure to access that money, because you were the person that, after he did so much research, was deserving of that money if you would only give him back a small fee in advance in order to obtain that money, right? We all know that one. I know, it's a little dramatic in that. We also likely know about somebody with an accent calling us saying that they're from the IRS, and they call us from a 202 area code. That's Washington, D.C. It could look legitimate. Maybe they're actually even calling from an IRS number. I mentioned that I had an attempted scam about a week and a half ago, and it was actually somebody that called from a private number. I couldn't find anything about that number. And they said that they were a detective with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and they were calling me about me not showing up to court as a witness in a case, and therefore I was in contempt of court and failure to appear, so on and so forth. And when I told them, I wanted to call them back because when they're calling me, I'm not willing to give any information, he actually called me back from a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department phone number, their main line. I still said I wanted to call him back and ask for him. He said that wasn't able to happen, and things went on. I knew it was a scam pretty quickly, and ultimately they told me that if I don't comply, then they will send actual officers to come and arrest me. I said that's actually what I would prefer, because then I could actually speak to somebody that I know who they are, where they're from. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang up now, send the officers, and nobody ever came, as you can imagine. We all know about the calls from places like NV Energy, or if maybe you're out of state or out of this city, whoever your utility company is, and they're calling you at the most inopportune time. Right here in Vegas, they're calling in the absolute peak of summer when the air conditioning needs to stay on, and they're saying that they didn't receive your last payment on a power bill. And if you don't pay right now over the phone, they are going to cut you off digitally from the main office, and you're not going to have power, and therefore you're not going to have air conditioning. There are a lot of frightening scams. However, with AI becoming so mainstream, this is where it gets really, really crazy. And I want to share this with you. I've already called my mother. I've already called my father. I've called some of my other loved ones and let them know about the absolute intensity behind these scams. And I'm going to share a couple of them with you today and show you a couple things that I was able to do very, very quickly at no cost, and it's gonna blow your mind if you haven't already seen it. So I'm gonna put on my handy dandy glasses here and read from a computer screen. So I've got an article here, and I'll share the link below, and I'm not gonna go through all of the article, but essentially what this says is there was this woman, Robin, and they changed the names in the article just for privacy purposes. Robin was asleep next to her husband, Steve, in Brooklyn, and her phone rang. And she saw that it was her mother-in-law, Mona. Mona never calls after midnight. However, she let the phone go to voicemail, and then the phone rang again. So she said, something's gotta be up. So she picks up the phone, Mona's screaming, and she doesn't know what's going on. And then she hears Bob, Mona's husband, right, the father-in-law, and he's saying, give me the phone, give me the phone. And then Bob's voice says, get Steve, right? That's Robin's husband who's sleeping. Robin proceeds to wake her husband up and said, I think something is terribly wrong, or something terrible has happened. Steve wakes up. He happens to be in law enforcement, by the way. And when he opens his eyes and he gets on the phone, he found his wife in a state of panic. She was screaming. She thought the whole family was dead. He took the phone and he immediately hears a very relaxed voice. And that relaxed voice says, you're not going to call the police. You're not going to tell anybody. I've got a gun to your mom's head, and I'm going to blow her brains out if you don't do exactly what I say. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm getting choked up even thinking about somebody talking about my mother like this, and I don't know what I would do. I would be beside myself if I heard my mother's voice on the other end of the phone. And mind you, this phone, the caller ID, said this woman, Mona. So it would be the caller ID from my mother's phone, and I'm hearing my mother's voice. That would send me over the edge, right? Like, what is going on? So Steve, being in law enforcement, happened to pick up his phone, and he called a colleague who's experienced in hostage negotiations and muted it, but just so his colleague could actually hear this phone call. And he sent him a text and said, are you hearing this? What should I do? Colleague wrote back, take notes, keep talking, and he gets through it. And ultimately, what ended up happening was the guy wanted money Venmoed to him. So Steve Venmoed him money. Now, it was only $500, so that seemed extremely low for a hostage situation. However, he didn't know. His wife thought that maybe the people broke into the house looking for some money, and there was no money there, and they're just at the house, and what have you. So as it turned out, the 500 wasn't enough. He ended up Venmoing even more. They don't say what the amount was. He had asked if everything was okay, if they were going to be released, and they hung up very quickly. So knowing that Mona, the mom, her phone was compromised, as soon as this happened and they get off the phone and he had sent the money, he calls his dad. And to his surprise, he wakes his father up. And he says, Dad, where's Mom? She's sleeping right next to me. They were asleep the whole time. The voices were fake. The phone number was spoofed. And they got on the phone with the daughter-in-law. They got the husband, the son, on the phone, and he gladly and quickly gave over money to protect his parents. This is how scary it's getting. Now, they're not all this elaborate. It could be your child calling with a broken down with a flat tire, and it could even be from a different phone number. And you say, hey, I'm gonna call you back. And the AI in his voice actually says, no, I'm actually using a friend's phone. My phone died. And because I can't get to my phone, I can't use my Apple Tap or Google Tap Pay to pay the tow truck that has to come out. So I need you to Venmo it to my friend, right? There are all kinds of different scams that go on here. And as your imagination has no limits, the imagination and the creativity of these scammers doesn't either. A couple of ways to stay safe is when you do get a call like that, as scary as it seems, one, get on another phone, call the police. Hanging up on them and having them call back again, or you calling out to them is oftentimes a good idea. If you have a second phone, keep them on the phone. But Steve could have called his dad from the other phone while this was happening to see if something was going on. It's also great to have a safe word. Have some sort of word that your family knows or something that happened. And by the way, if you're thinking safe words, like the dog's name or the street you grew up on or anything that could have been used as a security question in the past, it's all searchable. Just about everything in your life is searchable. I have an app on my phone to protect some of my agents, and it's a very, very fast and easy background check app. It costs me $20 a month to do unlimited searches. And I know what car you drive. I'm able to see where you've lived, not only now, but in the past. So there's a lot that I could actually determine. It doesn't have dog's name, but it does have a lot of items in there. And again, there's so many other things. You've probably mentioned your dog's name somewhere on social media. Or if you didn't, maybe a friend did, where they connected to your social media because they were over your house one night and they said, such a fun night with, Emily, Kevin, and their awesome dog, Buttercup. Right? And through that and all those connections, there's so much information that's available. So having something very, very specific is really, really important. So I've got actually an article here as well from CNBC about scammers using AI tools and how to protect yourself. So I'm going to put that in the link as well. But they talk about fact check and verify. They talk about ending the call. So there's a lot of things that we just need to be more vigilant on, and we need to realize how intense this gets. Now, there's going to be two other things that I'm going to show you really quickly. One, I'm going to play a video here overlaying mine, and it's going to be a human face speaking. Now, that human face isn't actually a real human, it's an AI generated. However, it's not an avatar, right? It doesn't have all those funky features looking like a superhero. It looks like a real human. Now, I didn't take the time to do it.
This is how easy and realistic it is. This is how easy and realistic it is.
However, I could have uploaded my picture into this particular website and just a flat picture of myself. And it didn't matter if there's a background, they could delete the background, but they could take a picture of just my face, closed mouth, no smile, just like this. And then another one with a smile so they could see my teeth, and they could take those. And now they have the ability to make my mouth move. Like, I could technically be AI right now and you might not know it. Now, I'm not AI right now. I really am. Like, I could pinch myself and say, ow! You can see I'm a full body, right? I don't know that AI would be able to do all the movement that I'm doing in the way that I'm doing it right now. However, they could easily take my face and do a torso shot, and I could type words into it. It will speak just like me. Now, in this particular instance, on the video that I'm gonna show you, I typed those words in. It's gotten so much more advanced than that, though, through some paid programs and some dark web programs where it's an actual AI bot and it could converse.
I need your help. Can you talk? I have a story. I am making a last-minute trip to the city and I got a flat tire. I almost ran off the road, but all is good. This is where I need your help.
What it's saying is not pre-programmed. It's machine learned, and it has its entire vocabulary. It has everything that ChatGPT has at its disposal. It can read the internet all the way up to 2023. So let's say somebody's FaceTiming with you and they're saying they're your son, and it's a picture of your son or your daughter or your parents or anyone else that you know and you know their face. Maybe you're gonna say something like, hey, your mouth is moving a little bit weird. And they're gonna say, oh yeah, I went to the dentist earlier today and the Novocaine hasn't worn off. The swelling's down, but it's kind of weird. So yeah, I'm sorry. My mouth is moving a little bit weird. And they and do all of that. It really is at a scary, scary level when it comes to that. Now, the next thing that I'm going to show you, aside from the video, just to give you an idea of how realistic they are, is my actual voice. Now, it doesn't have the same cadence as me, but if you've been listening to my voice here for the last few minutes, you've gotten to know it a little bit. And again, this is something that I did in all of 3 minutes. I read 2 paragraphs to an AI bot, and then it took my voice and it cloned my voice. I then was able to type some words in. Now again, we could do this with AI where it's an actual back and forth, where it's machine learned. It's not pre-programmed by me typing anything in. I just did this as an example, so I'm gonna play a very, very quick sample of me saying that I broke down and I have a flat tire. Now again, you'll hear that the sound of my voice is similar. It doesn't quite sound like me because it's broken up. However, I could edit and change those pauses and that cadence and a little bit of the intonation. I just haven't done it for this example.
I need your help. Can you talk? I have a story. I am making a last-minute trip to the city and I got a flat tire. I almost ran off the road, but all is good. This is where I need your help.
So knowing that a voice can easily be cloned, a face can actually be cloned and could speak to you. They could even do things like proof of life, where they've deepfaked the picture and the person is actually speaking and they're cloning the voice and making the mouth move, saying, today is March 10th and they have me here captive. Please do what they say they're going to do, otherwise they're going to kill me. And yeah, I'm not doing a panicked voice right now for this. However, you can imagine how they're able to do that, and it is quite wild. Today is March 10th, and they have me here captive. Please do what they say they're going to do, otherwise they're going to kill me. All this said, AI scams are more prevalent than they've ever been before. It's extremely scary, and it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. So protect yourself. Share either this video or the articles below, or just tell this story to everybody that you know and love and want to stay safe, because the level of vigilance that we are going to need to take for ourselves and for others around us when it comes to these scams moving forward is higher than it's ever been. While AI scams run the gamut of all kinds of different things, again, going all the way back to the letter from the prince, to the energy company calling you, and those aren't necessarily AI, they're just scams, to these newest ones like this hostage situation that I talked about, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention something about real estate. And it's just a small piece about this. However, when it comes to real estate transactions, that's oftentimes the largest financial transaction that most people will make in their life. And therefore, there are a lot of scams around that, especially when it comes to wiring money and any other type of handling of money. It could be the notary, the bank, and they could be asking you for information. Once again, this is where you have to have your spidey sense up. Make sure that you're verifying. When I talk to my clients about wiring money, even if it's a small amount like the earnest money deposit, I let them know when they get the instructions through the email to wire the money, even if it's a secured email, to actually call the title company, get the rep on the phone and verify the details. Now, it's really important when I say call the title company, if you just got that email, they've got a signature at the bottom and there's a phone number there. That is not the phone number you call. It may end up being the phone number that you call, however, you're not gonna take it from there. What you're gonna do is go to Google and look up that title company, right? If it's, a big title company or a small title company, whether it's a Chicago title or a Magnus Clark County title, you'll look that title company up and find out what their number is in the directory and call from there. You can call your agent as well. They'll likely know the number for you to call, but call them and verify those details and that data. Now, when it comes to the bank, if you happen to be getting a loan, the bank might be sending out information. They might want prior tax returns, bank statements, account numbers. And if they ask for things like that, then that is really important that you know that it's going to the right bank. When I refinanced my house just a few years ago, they actually gave me access to a portal. And instead of asking me for bank statements, through the portal, I was actually able to log into my bank, and then they were able to see the bank activity and download the statements themselves by connecting through what they call single sign-on, or effectively a proxy. Now, I knew what I was doing. I knew who I was going through. However, what if that was a scam? What if that was some sort of AI that they attach to your email box and they're sniffing for your emails? This AI is looking for details about you buying or selling a home. And now they are able to prey on you and send you that information because they know you're using Chase Bank and they know that you're buying a home and they have the address, and that's all through some level of AI doing it. This isn't just some hacker that's sitting at home behind their computer hoping to come across the right emails. They have a program that's actually looking at all that. So again, I just wanted to put that one blurb in about real estate. When it comes to a real estate transaction, it's such a large transaction that the last thing you want to do is find out that you've given your information to the wrong person and you go to open up your account and now they've drained your account. You know, not only do you not have money, you can't even move forward on the transaction, because even if the bank is going to replace your money, even if, you know, everything's FDIC insured and this falls under a qualified and you know, acceptable insurance claim through them, and they're going to give you that money back, it's likely going to be 90 days. So you're buying a $600,000 house, you're using $120,000 of the $200,000 you had in the bank to buy it. Now you can't do that. That $120,000 isn't available, and it's likely that the seller's not going to wait that 90 days. So again, even if you feel like you have protections and some insurances and securities around that, if something like that happens, it can completely disrupt your life and just suck all of your energy and hope in society away. So just be a little more aware, a little more vigilant, and make sure that you're verifying everything. This is Alex Rivlin with the Rivlin Group. If you have any questions, any comments about what's going on in the AI universe, anything that you've seen that you could share, an article link or something that maybe happened to you or one of your loved ones, either that was successful for the scammer or that wasn't, you know, I'd love for you to share it in the comments below so everybody could continue learning and again, be that much more prepared if and when it may happen to them. Thanks so much.